Welcome back, everyone, here to Bronx Talks. Today, we got a very special video for you guys. We are joined with Jake Kosack from the Bronx Zoo. We're going to be talking about the Yankees a little bit, interviewing what he does, kind of all that fun stuff. So it's going to be a good time. So, definitely listen in. Stay tuned. We're going to talk about a lot. So, Jake, how you doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for having me on.
Yeah, no problem, of course.
Appreciate
So
it.
let's get right into it.
Sure. Jake, most people know who you are. You're becoming pretty popular in the Yankee world. You're the host and creator of the Bronx Zoo. But for people who don't know you, can you tell us a little bit about what you do?
I appreciate that very much. I still look at myself as just a Yankee fan with a mic. I'll say this: I started last September. I came up with an idea. There's people on social media who have done Man on the Street, and of course, Man on the Street segments have been popular in the news and cable news networks for a long time. And I came up with this idea last August. I was at my job at the time, and I was doing I was working for a cable news network, and we were gathering questions on the street, and I really didn't want to be doing it. I wasn't the reporter, but I was just like, you know what? I'll go out there, do my job. And man came up to me when I'm asking questions, and he says, "Excuse me, you're asking questions about the Yankees?" And I had a Yankee jersey on, and I'm like, "No," but man, like it literally the clocks, it started ticking. I'm like, that's a cool idea. And in that moment, I just envisioned the first Yankee fan show. I was like, man, I've never seen that before. And there's some brands out there that do street stuff on social media. Of course, I'm not blind to that, but I've never seen for one team a show dedicated to the fans. So basically what the Bronx Zoo is essentially is the first of its kind fan show and the first of its kind Yankee fan show, specifically the New York Yankees. Grew up a diehard Yankees fan. And I guess that's the best way to put it. It's a show dedicated to Yankee fans.
That's wow. I mean, it's really, really awesome. I think it's great because Yankee fans are, in my opinion, like so much different than any other fan base. Like
Absolutely.
they're so passionate. There's no casual fan. A lot of people have the saying like, oh, it's just a game. But for Yankee fans, it's like it's our life. Like it's like it's all we think about. And I think there's no better way to capture all that on your show. Next question is like you kind of already talked about this. What inspired you, but like what became like how'd you become kind of like a Yankee fan? Like what started that passion that developed that you wanted to do this show? How did that all start?
Yeah. So my whole family is really Yankee fans. My mom will say she's not a Yankee fan, but I think the Bronx Zoo is turning her into a Yankee fan. My whole family's from New York. Grew up about an hour out from the stadium. My grandparents grew up in the Bronx and Yonkers. My mom and dad are from Yonkers, and I'm from a town called Hopewell Junction, which is up in by Poughkeepsie, New York. And I just diehard. I was raised. I'm born. I always say I was born in October 1996.
There you go.
I think I'm a little older than you guys. The dynasty, growing up with that. I'm not going to say I remember every single second, but watching Jeter's career progress. How old are you guys? Let me ask.
I'm 17.
I'm 17. So you guys remember Jeter towards the tail end of his career.
Yeah.
And but you guys, you probably would say Judge. You'll be able to say you saw Judge from beginning to end, why it's so important and crucial to sign Judge, but we're not talking about that right now. But I will say the just growing up with that dynasty and like you said, it's a way of life. My family loves the Yankees. The Yankees are playing the Yankee games on. I don't care if we're at a barbecue, a wedding. It's on the radio. It's somewhere. We're watching it. We're all following the score. And it really became more than just being a fan. When I was in elementary school, I would wear a Yankee shirt every day to school. Every day to school. I had a Jeter shirt. I had a Teixeira shirt. I would wear a something Yankee every single day. And it turned into, started wearing this Yankee necklace every day, which I've talked about.
Awesome.
It became something more than being a fan of a team. It became a way of life, and it became I guess the best way to describe it is it's something that it's an escape from reality, right? We live
Mm.
in we live our own lives every day, and we all have problems, and we all have difficulties that we have to embark upon. But at the end of the day, we all can come together at 7:05, and we can watch one thing that even if a loss happens, we're still gonna love at the end of the day. And
Mhm.
think about that: when something doesn't, you know, work out, you're not gonna usually say, "Oh, I still love this." But even when they lose, there's tomorrow, and there's
Absolutely.
it's always been an escape from reality. That's how I've been able to describe it.
That's all. I mean,
Awesome.
this is literally why we wanted to have you on our show, because I mean, the vibes you have and your outlook on the Yankees, the world, it's
Yeah,
awesome. It's
I
super
appreciate
cool.
it.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
love
and
how you're all about bringing like Yankee fans together, because we know
oh,
Yankee
absolutely.
fans can be critical. We
Yep.
expect a lot from our team, but I mean,
Yep.
it's awesome what you're
And
doing.
I love those fans too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like we have to love everything and like, but at the end of the day, like we can be critical. That's important. If everything in life,
Mhm.
you should be critical. Like Derek Jeter would say, what's working, what's
Absolutely.
not working, figure it out. But I'll never be the one to go to Yankee Stadium and boo a player. I never understood that. Well,
Yeah.
what's that going to accomplish? Be critical, share your frustration, but booing someone into an oblivion is not going to turn
I
their
agree.
season around. I
I
never
agree.
boo everyone on the opposing team. I don't care, but never I would never boo my own guy.
I
Yeah,
love
I
hearing
totally agree.
that. So you're talking about going to games. Now you're posting like almost every day. Are these like from one day and then you kind of spread it out, or are you at every single game? And are you
Yeah.
actually in the stadium or just outside?
So yeah. So basically, at this we've hit a point now where people want us there every single day. Uh, want to be there every single day. I want to be on every away game. I've had people ask me all week, "Are you coming to Boston?" I right now started this on my own. I left my job in January because I believe in it that much. If I didn't believe that this was a good idea, I wouldn't have done what I did. But I left my job because I believe that this is something that will grow and will continue to grow. And I couldn't I couldn't have made it what it is today. And I'm not saying it's anything big. There's so much more that I have to do. There are so many things. Just the way I describe it is I'm in the beginning stage still, and that's crazy to some people. You know how we've gotten some views and some publicity, but I'm in the beginning stages. The ideas that I have are literally endless, and the so I left my job in January. So I was committed to making sure I was going to one game a homestand. I believe we've gotten to at least 13 or 14 of the home games this year. Um, so I can break it down quickly for you. So basically, the last week, when the Yankees were playing the Mets and then they came home for Old Timers Day, I went to Citi Field to do the zoo Tuesday. I went to the game Wednesday. I went to the game Saturday with Old Timers Day with my dad, and then I went Tuesday to film. So I had the Red Sox, Yankees in New York. I just finished the Yankees Boston when I went up to Fenway. Finished it, made a whole episode because as you guys know, I'm not just on TikTok. My main thing is the episodes on
Mhm.
YouTube. That's the bread and butter, in my opinion. And people know us from TikTok, but the really good stuff is on YouTube. Like the full episodes, a lot of effort, a lot of creativity. 2 to 3 days minimum. I'm trapped in my room editing. But I did the Fenway Park episode, got that done. When the episode's done, I cut it all up into TikToks and Instagram reels and make separate clips from it. And then when I'm done with all of those, I start the next episode. So I started when the Boston and the Yankees came to New York. I finished that yesterday. So right now, today, right before I jumped on with you, I was editing for the Subway Series when we played the Mets 2 weeks ago. Gonna do
Mhm.
that, get that all done by Monday. Start all of the Old Timers Day episode. Get those done. Hopefully, get that done by Thursday. I'll go film. I'm hoping to get there Thursday or Sunday for Paul O'Neill Day because those have been popular requested days. Try and get that episode done, and then I'll just have one episode left. And then some of these TikToks that I take, I have so much footage. Sometimes I get 2 to 3 hours of footage a day. I'm going
Wow.
through it all, and I do all the editing on my own. So I try and think what would be best applicable to certain social media sites. So I'll go, this is good for TikTok, maybe not good for my episode. So I have a folder on my computer of unused clips. So I always have stuff to be churning out there. But there's certain stuff that I get that night. I'll go right home and say this is good. Like for instance, the hall pass video that went viral a couple weeks ago.
Sure.
That night,
Mm-hmm.
I went home and I put it up within 35 minutes of me being home.
Wow.
So I'll be out there for Paul O'Neill Day, I'm hoping, and the Yankees versus the Mets, and I'll have at least 3 to 4 episodes out in 2 weeks. So that's the most work I've ever done. So for the zoo.
Yeah, it's certainly a grind, but I'm glad you're sticking with it, and we certainly love and enjoy your content. And maybe I'll run into you because I'm going to the Paul O'Neill game.
Oh, okay.
So,
you got to be on.
Yeah, so maybe I'll run into you. Do you have a favorite question you like asking people, like a particular question that you like the most to ask people?
Absolutely. I always say to people, we push the boundary sometimes with questions that aren't typically asked within the baseball world. That's something I've been trying to emphasize, and especially I'm trying to tie it in with pop culture, because what I envision the zoo is, people are going to start doing what we do around the country, and I'm totally on board with that. I support it because baseball has the potential to be the number one sport in the country again. The problem is, the way I see it is, baseball isn't marketed with pop culture. And when you think about basketball and you think about football, these athletes are embedded in pop culture. We're worried about what are they wearing before the game. And so my goal from the beginning was trying to make, I used to work at TMZ Sports. Great job, fun job. And we got to do that, embed sports guys in pop culture. So the questions I'd ask the athletes, it kind of got me thinking now where I am today, like, how can I make, even if we just connect the Yankees to, I'm a huge fan of The Godfather. If the Yankees were the Godfather cast, how can you do that? So I love that stuff. Sometimes we ask hall pass questions and who's better looking questions, because sometimes people who come up and talk to us aren't diehard Yankee fans. Maybe they're becoming a diehard Yankee fan, but I can always have something to throw out. But my favorite question to answer your question would be, what do the Yankees mean to you? That is my favorite question, hands down, thrown out, because the zoo is something that can go on for literally ever because of questions like that. What do the Yankees mean to you? Because every single person will have a different answer. Every 20 million Yankee fans in the world, there will be a different answer.
That would kind of put me on the
awesome.
spot if I could ask that. I don't know.
Oh man, I might save that for you now. So
I don't know. Is there like a specific moment, like whether it was a crazy fan, super excited, super angry, that just stands out?
Stands out. Well, there's a bunch. I will say
it's fine.
I will say this. I remember every video that I put out. I remember the person because I watched the video at least 10 times before I put it up to make sure it's perfect. Edits are clean, all of that. But the one night that stands out most of all for this year for me would be Aaron Judge's walk-off home run against the Blue Jays back in May. The way that we got the street afterwards. Oh, and okay. So that one, and I also was there for Aaron Judge's walk-off base hit against the Astros. So I was there for both of those nights, excuse me. And let me say, I've never seen 161st Street get like this. It was like we could have shut down the entire borough of the Bronx. We were absolutely nuts in a good, positive way. Like, we were just having fun, like dancing and having fun. It was an incredible night. So those two nights stand out the most.
Yeah, and imagine like if they won the World Series, just how much crazier the energy would be there. It's like hard to imagine. It just seems
I'm not leaving.
so exciting.
I'm not leaving.
So excited. Yeah,
I'm sleeping over on the street. I'll sleep at the old field. I'm not leaving. I'm gonna be there.
It's so exciting just thinking about it. Do you have like, as a Yankee fan, what would you say is your favorite Yankees moment of all time that you experienced in your life?
For me personally, Jeter's final game. I was at that game. It can't get better than that. Just seeing like your hero walk off into the sunset in a perfect movie script. It was just, and I was with my dad. So, I mean, like both of us together, I just left for college and he came pick me up and we went down and, that whole day was a perfect night. Perfect night.
Yeah. I mean, this might roll into the next question. What are some of your favorite Yankees, past or present?
Great question. Derek Jeter's my number one. Of course, the core four. But Jeter was always my guy. I love the way he handled themselves. And when you really think about it, all four of them and Bernie Williams conduct themselves in a perfect manner. I loved Andy. I love Mo, Mariano, Jorge, Bernie. But I love Anthony Rizzo. I think he's the exact representation of the New York Yankees that you want. Of course, I love Judge. Who doesn't love Judge? I always try to think of something different because it's like saying you love Derek Jeter. I love Aaron Judge. Like it's the same thing. Like I mean, who doesn't? But some of the guys that I also liked, I was a big fan of Mark Teixeira. I liked his glove.
Good one.
I love Tino. CC. And there's some underrated guys like Ichiro on the Yankees was a solid Yankee, a greatness on the team.
Mm-hmm.
I loved when Soriano came back in 2014. Had a great second
that was
half.
awesome.
Great
That was
second
awesome.
half.
He went nuts.
Yep. Hideki, Bobby Abreu. And then I'm thinking like old school guys, like guys I wish I could have seen play. Don Mattingly, Thurman, Joe D, like Thurman specifically. I know like who wouldn't want to see Joe DiMaggio, Mickey Mantle, Ruth, Garrick, Elston Howard, Yogi, Phil Rizzuto, all these guys. But Thurman Munson to me was the Yankee captain. Like we look at Jeter and like when you talk to guys who are my father's age, probably your father's age, like the way they talk about Thurman is nothing but the deepest respect. And they really hold him to such a high standard that I really wish I could have been able to watch him play.
We had Tommy John on our podcast.
That's awesome. Very cool.
We were talking to him a while about Thurman Munson, and you could tell. I mean, he was talking about his respect for him, his teammates' respect for Thurman Munson, and how big his death had an impact on the players. I mean, it was truly amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He also said, like, if just showing Thurman's, like, leadership, he said, as a joke, like, if Thurman told everyone on the team to wear pink underwear, they would all wear pink underwear. Like, he was just, he was just that kind of guy. And he is, like, when you think of Yankee captains, you think of Jeter, of course, but, like, Thurman is the perfect example of like how you carry yourself on and off the field, the grind that you put in on the field, and obviously,
and
you got to go out there and
the
win.
family man. I think that's important too. Like, you look at all these guys, and the family is an important factor in their lives, and I respect that. Especially after watching The Captain last night. Favorite part maybe of the whole documentary was seeing Jeter as a dad, because these guys are good family men, and that matters. And Thurman really, I mean, that's why he was flying back and forth between Ohio and New York. He wanted to be with his family. And I mean, that's incredible.
Yeah. When interviewing the fans, do you think there's a different vibe with this year's team, the 2022 team? Do you think fans are like kind of keeping notice and like there's like a different vibe around the ballpark and stuff like that, would you say?
Compared to last year, I'd say no, because we were also in the race last year. So I would say there's a specific energy that we've seen this year that maybe we haven't seen in the past. And I'm just speaking as a Yankee fan. The way that people are talking about the team, the respect that the team is getting across the league, we've definitely seen that. And people are afraid of the New York Yankees again. Yeah, I don't want to talk about the past month. We haven't been fully healthy, and I'm not one for excuses. But without Stanton's protection in the lineup, that makes a difference. And Stanton is coming back. So, I mean, with Stanton and Rizzo as protection for Judge, this lineup can be unstoppable. They got this past week. They were very fortunate not to have Giancarlo Stanton to come up right after Aaron Judge.
Yeah, so. and when Stanton's on the top of his game, when we call it nuclear Stanton, when he's like on that level, I don't think there's a player in the league that can even get close to him when Stanton's at the peak of his game, because every at bat he hits a home run. It's like it's something like,
and it always happens around September.
Yes.
So, and October.
Yeah.
So
Stanton's got a reputation for clutch. Cool.
He is going to go down as one of the most underrated Yankees of all time. Maybe it's because of his contract. I don't know, but
last year at this time, maybe a little before, but Yankee fans wanted him gone.
Yep.
Now look at him.
Yeah, I mean,
begging for him to be back.
He's been super reliable.
100%. So, kind of taking you into this, we haven't really talked about the actual Yankees. We talked about fans, what you're doing. But
Yep.
what are your thoughts on this year's team? Do they have what it takes?
They do, hands down. I don't just say it. I don't just say it because it's best to be out there saying Yankees are going to win. The Yankees have the best team that they've had since 2009.
Yeah.
I felt like that going into the season. We had a phenomenal team, and I think people were trashing. Oh, we didn't get Correa. Why did I didn't want Carlos Correa. I also didn't want to get Joey Gallo last year because we weren't fitting our needs. This year, Cashman's a genius at what he does, and nothing against him at all for going for a Joey Gallo. But I think he went into this year looking at it from the perspective of, if we get Carlos Correa and he doesn't perform, think about Stanton times 10, because Carlos Correa was already maybe one of the most unlikable athletes in the sport. For me, he did not represent what the New York Yankees were about. I didn't want him on the team. I mean, first off, we all know my feelings on the 2017 Astros, but to come out and publicly act like you're a victim here, that was ridiculous. So I thought IKF was the great move. I thought that was a strong move, not the one I specifically said I wanted. I would have been okay with Seager, but I didn't want to give out that money to a guy with such history of injuries. IKF was a great move, and Donaldson was a great move. I was a Gary Sanchez supporter. I actually liked Gary. I was one of those guys who would have stuck with him probably. But to go get Trevino, which was another strong move. And, then at this deadline, you go and you get an Andrew Benintendi. That's a guy that's going to fulfill your needs. Last year, we didn't need Joey Gallo to come in and hit home runs. We needed a guy who's going to get on base. And that's what Benintendi gives you. And we got the pitching, the relief pitching. And, of course, you have Severino coming back when it matters most. And he was dominant the first half this year.
Yes.
Not talked about enough. He was dominant. He was old school Severino. And when you think about it, when Severino pitches, when's the last time? He might be hurt a lot. When's the last time Severino was on the mound and you didn't trust him? I mean, he's never gone through a stretch where it's like, oh, Severino's on the mound. No, everyone's like, yeah, he's reliable. He's a strong arm. So I thought the moves were strong. I think there are some other very strong teams in the league. I won't deny that. The Dodgers, yes. I still think the Padres have a better lineup. The Dodgers have a better pitching rotation. The Braves are phenomenal once again, somehow without Freddie. I think they would have benefited from going after one more bat. And then I'll say it, the New York Mets look strong, but I've said it all year long. The New York Mets don't have a lineup to win a World Series. And if they win it some miraculous way like 1986, I'll be the first one to come out on all my platforms and apologize. But the Mets don't have a lineup to win a World Series. I firmly believe it. They did not get what they needed before the season started, and they did not fulfill their needs at the deadline, which was one major bat.
I agree.
And I also, not much playoff experience on that team. A lot of, Alonso hasn't been there. DeGrom was there, but that was a long time ago. Scherzer's obviously been there, done that, but yeah,
Scherzer was great, and Marte was a great move. But when they got Marte, they got Mark Kenya and they got James McCann acting like they just got Yogi Berra and they got Reggie Jackson. I mean, they should have gotten Chris Bryant. That was the one move. If they're not going to re-sign Javi Baez, they should have gotten Chris Bryant. I thought that made the absolute most sense for them. And I thought at the deadline this year, maybe the Red Sox weren't biting. I thought they would have been a guy just made a major move and went and got Xander Bogaerts, or they go to the Cubs and ask for Ian Happ and they go and get David Robertson or Wilson Contreras in the same trade. And they didn't do that major move that was needed like a Padres did or even the Yankees did. The Padres went out and improved their team that was a suffering lineup without Tatis, and they get Tatis back and get Juan Soto, and the Mets add who?
Yeah. I agree.
And I'm not a Mets hater. I'm not a Mets hater. I mean, people think I just like to make fun of the Mets. I'm a realist when it comes to baseball, and I just don't think they have the lineup.
I respect me and Ryan kind of are Mets haters. But I was kind of surprised. I would have thought
it's tempting not to hate them. It's just like, they're just like,
I'll say this. The Mets fans definitely, the Mets spectators. I call them Mets spectators. They tend to be sensitive. Very sensitive. The Astros fans, I can't stand, except the ones that like the zoo. But the Astros fans that come and just come in my comments all the time and just say that, all this crap. It's ridiculous. But I mean, some Astros fans I do respect. They like what we do. They get our sense of humor. But some Astros fans literally will just make it their sole mission to come into my comments and just talk about the
No,
Astros in 2017.
I know what you mean. I put a hype video out on YouTube, just like mid-season hype video.
Yep.
And I don't even know what Astros fan would click on a Yankee hype video. I got like 5 comments. Like, you're going to lose in the ALCS. Astros are better.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, I'm not. Don't get me wrong. There are some great Astros fans out there who get that what they did was wrong in 2017, and there are some that really believe that they won that ring for real. So
yeah, 2017 is something I don't like to think about. It's just like it's just unfair. It doesn't sit right. I was in 6th grade at the time, and we went down 2-0. We won the wild card game. Then we went down 2-0 to Cleveland, and I mean, I was still rooting on my team, but I mean, I got to admit, I didn't think we had the best chances of coming back. But then we won 3 straight, and then we went down 2-0 in the ALCS, then went up 3-2, and it was like, come on. And I remember when we, what was it? I think it was game 4, maybe, when we had the comeback.
Sanchez.
Yeah, incredible.
That was awesome. I was just jumping up and down, and it was just it was crazy. So hopefully we can get past the ALCS this year and accomplish our goals. But
past
2017,
yes, but against Houston, I want to face Houston.
Oh yeah,
I want them.
Yeah, I think a lot of the Yankees want. I think Judge is mad. He knows he's not going to admit it because he's a class act, but he knows he got robbed from that MVP, and I think there's a lot of bad blood in that clubhouse, and they're sick of the Astros. They're sick of them cheating them and just playing like unfairly. And I think they want to stick it to them. And there's a lot of, I feel like, especially with that matchup, not only from the average baseball fan, it's very exciting, but I think there's a lot of redemption stories in it. Aroldis Chapman. Certainly, I feel like could go out there and be super mad and pitch to the best of his abilities. I think Garrett Cole would like to stick it to his former team. Not saying there's any bad blood there, but Garrett Cole he always finds ways to motivate himself. So
absolutely, I agree with you.
Yeah. So, what would you say is your end goal for the Bronx Zoo? Like, what would you say is what you want to accomplish the most, like your biggest goal, your end goal?
My end goal, well, I guess I could tie it in with my career end goal. I have a one specific goal that I've talked about, and that's to host my own show on a television network, my own show with a lot of ideas. And I'll talk about that more as time goes on. But I see the zoo being a segment of a bigger show. Surprisingly, the zoo would be a segment on a specific type of sports show that's never been done. And I want to bring that wherever it may be on a huge platform. And I mean, I don't shy away from where I want to be, and I want to be with the Yes Network, but I'm open to every opportunity out there. ESPN, MLB Network, but for me, it's more of, I see the zoo as a start for not only my career, but for the fans, because I want to elevate the potential, because I think there's more to be done. I want to learn about, these fans and their sports man caves and their memorabilia. I'm into that type of stuff, and I'd love to learn more. Like, I see, first thing I noticed when we jumped on, I was looking at your wall. Oh, look at that picture on the back. I see, the Cowboys in the back. I'm into memorabilia. So, and I would love to just personally become a not just me. I say the Bronx Zoo is not just my show. It is our show. It really is, because no one wants to just hear me talk for out on 161st Street with a megaphone. No one does that. But the zoo is successful because there's so many different personalities that take that mic, and I want to. I guess it's a short-term goal and a long-term goal. I want to elevate the fans. Like the thing I'm most proud of is, you look at my page, and I said this last night on another podcast. you look at my page, you don't see Jake Kosack that often. You look at other people's TikTok pages, Instagram pages, you see them a lot. But you look at my page and you're seeing fans from all walks of life. And for 30 to 60 seconds, they're getting their moment to shine to talk about the team that they love. And, I've interviewed celebrities for the Bronx Zoo. I've interviewed fans from all over the world, and I equal them the same. Like, if you're a diehard fan, if you're just becoming a Yankee fan, everyone that talks on the Bronx Zoo, I don't care if you're like, I've gotten Jimmy Fallon to talk on the Bronx Zoo, all this stuff.
Wow.
I love that everyone comes together to talk about the Yankees, no matter where you're from in life, where you're from in New York. We come together, we talk about the Yankees, and I think the sky's the limit when it comes to potential for the Bronx Zoo, and even more like for a personal side of it. I think that my main goal is to take this to the very top, where you go anywhere to any baseball stadium in the country, and you mention the words the Bronx Zoo, they know who we are.
Wow. I'm serious, man. I think you could do it. I mean, I see this going on Yes Network a few years from now.
I appreciate it.
You see John Boy and Jake. I'm sure you're familiar.
Awesome, yeah, phenomenal. They're awesome.
Now on Yes Network with their Talking Yanks. So, realistic dream, and
I appreciate it.
Really cool.
Yeah.
So
I think also like, oh, you want to go? Oh.
No.
Well, I think also like, okay, you can close it out.
No, I have one more question.
Okay. But I think like a part of the reason they're having, Talking Yanks, John Boy and Jake on there is because like it's from the fans' perspective.
Yep.
And I feel like it's a little different being an analyst, right? But like, being an analyst, you're covering. I mean, sometimes I guess you could be a Yankees analyst, right? Jack Curry on the S Network. But I feel like in general, like most analysts, are just baseball analysts, MLB.
Yeah.
So, they can't necessarily focus 100% on the New York Yankees. Like they have to cover all branches. But Yankee fans are so passionate and they watch every single game and they know so much about the team that I feel like it's really great for them to like, share their opinions and kind of be like analysts in a sense because they know so much.
Absolutely. And that's a great word they use, analyst. I don't see myself, I'm not trying to be in a booth. I mean, I'm open to every opportunity presented to me, but I've always saw myself from the beginning of my career as a TV sports and entertainment host. I've always viewed myself as a host. So like when you think of, I want to be the Ryan Seacrest for sports. That's how I describe it to people.
Yeah, we've gotten comments before, like, about our age and stuff. Like, you guys aren't analysts, and we say we're not. I mean, we're just Yankee fans talking about our team.
Yeah,
like
you guys are very articulate too, and I mean, never worry about your age. I mean, there are people about when it comes to baseball that are 15 that know more than people who are 75. So, I mean, never let that. Never listen to those comments.
So this is how we purposely left this question until the end because we thought it was the coolest one. Something that you might even ask sometimes.
Yeah.
But what makes Yankee fans the best?
Oh, great question. We have asked that on the Zoo, but I don't think I've ever been asked that.
Wow.
Give me a second. I want to make sure I'm articulate about this answer. So when it comes to baseball fans, there are baseball fans across the league that love their team. They love their team. They like their team. But when it comes to Yankee fans, we literally bleed pinstripes in our blood. It's not something we love. It's a part of who we are. We care about this team like we care about a family member. When it comes to the baseball game, the actual game itself, it's not a game to us. It's life or death to a degree because our lives every night, our joy, our excitement, our will, it derives from whether the Yankees win or lose. We have, to a degree, proven that we have a history of tradition, pride, and respect, something that I value as a Yankee fan, and I'm sure you guys too. Other teams have great history. They have great tradition. They have pride in who they are. But it's a symbol when you're a Yankee and a Yankee fan that you represent the pinstripes with those terms, pride, respect, and tradition. We hold ourselves up to the responsibility. We may not play on the field, but we're just as much a part of that team. And I don't think you'll find that in other fan bases. Nothing against other fan bases at all. But we don't play on the field, Yankee fans, but we care so much and we're so passionate and dedicated to this team that we are a part of the organization. We don't just take part in the organization.
That might rival Derek Jeter's speech. That was pretty good.
Thanks. He taught me well, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that was really amazing, and I totally agree. I think that Yankees fans they're one of a kind, and you can't. There's like nothing. In my opinion, nothing really close to them. They just they just get it, and especially like it's not just a game, like you said. It's like it's our lives. I remember when I was a little kid. I was 8-year-old, 7-year-old kid. Usually I think most 7-year-old kids wouldn't really care about a sports game or necessarily if their team wins and lose. I mean, as an 8-year-old or 7-year-old, it's more about you playing outside, hanging with your friends, all that stuff. But I remember me personally, with me being emotional and young, I remember, sometimes the Yanks had a tough loss or something like that. I would just like start crying, and my whole day was ruined.
I get it. Dude, I was when DJ LeMahieu hit that home run back in 2019, tears were flowing down my face. I mean, I understand. It's and when they lost to the Astros, I'm pretty sure I had tears in my eyes too. So I understand.
Yeah, I remember that. I think after the Astros beat us, I think I stood in my basement for like 5 minutes, just standing.
Yep.
And it was just like my whole probably month was ruined because of that. But but then when spring training rolls around again, and you see the Yankees and their pinstripes jogging on the field on opening day, it's just the joy you get. Like it's gonna be a fun few months here. So.
Well, like unlike everything else in your life, the Yankees always come back next year. So.
Yes,
absolutely.
So you always have them.
Yes,
absolutely.
I mean, that's pretty much all of our questions. We appreciate you coming on. It was really cool listening to your story, what you're doing.
Yeah, I love what you guys are doing too. This is what we need to do as fans.
Absolutely.
Everything we can do to show the world who we are.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. But thank you guys for having me on. I appreciate it very much.
Yeah, no problem. We loved having you.
Look out for your content. Look out for you at the game.
Yep, and let me know what I can do for you guys, and let me know when you come to the game. I'd love to have you on the zoo.
I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
All right,
so much.
Thank you guys. Go Yankees. Big game tonight.
Go Yanks.